Michael is a new biopic about the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson, starring his real-life nephew Jafar Jackson in the lead role. This movie essentially tells the story of Michael Jackson's rise to fame, him becoming maybe the most iconic musical figure ever. From his childhood in the Jackson 5 with his brothers being managed by his father, to his journey to becoming the solo artist that really blew him up to becoming what he is known for today. Michael Jackson is maybe the most famous person that ever lived. I mean, everybody in the world knows who Michael Jackson is. You didn't have to grow up in his time. You didn't have to be the biggest fan of his. You know who Michael Jackson is. So a biopic about him seems completely inevitable at some point. The fact that they casted his real-life nephew to play him in the lead role, that's fascinating to me. This was undeniably something I was looking forward to seeing. And we'll just start off with that right now. Jafar Jackson completely does his uncle justice here. He was completely transformative in this movie. He felt like Michael Jackson. And what I really loved about him is he didn't feel like someone who was impersonating Michael Jackson. He legitimately felt like him. From his voice, from his look, the way he sings and dances. I really felt like I was watching Michael Jackson because he was that convincing in this role. I said earlier this year that Ryan Gosling was an early contender, I felt, for Best Actor at next year's Oscars. Jafar Jackson has officially overtaken him, and he's probably going to be the favorite for a while. And what I really love seeing about Michael Jackson's story arc, or the way this movie tells it, was really just what he had to fight for himself. Again, he starts off as a kid as a frontman to the Jackson 5, the band he was in with his brothers. They were managed by their dad. They're doing all these tours. Didn't really get to experience a childhood because his life was all music all the time. And right out the gate, you could just see how gifted he was, how talented he was. At such a young age, he was just always destined to be a star, and everybody could see it. And what I really love seeing is as he gets older, where I think Jafar Jackson's performance really stands out, is you really do see what he had to struggle with. Because he was an artist, he had his own vision, he had his own dreams, he had what he wanted to pursue for himself, but because he was so tied to his family, for better or for worse, it wasn't easy for him. So I really love seeing when people are saying like, Michael, stand up for yourself, you're not a little boy anymore, take matters into your own hands, and it sounds easy on paper, but for him, he's kind of looking at them, it's like, you've seen what I deal with, it's not that easy. I like seeing that with him. It made Michael Jackson a complex human being, and that's great. But yeah, as far as other performances of this movie go, really big standouts in this movie. Let's talk about Coleman Domingo, who plays Joseph Jackson, the patriarch of the Jackson family, Michael Jackson's manager for the longest time. Dude, if there's going to be talk among the actors in this movie who deserve an Oscar nomination, Coleman Domingo is 1000% going to be one of them. I mean, this guy, Joe Jackson, he was uber controlling, just a total leech. He was a monster. You never really felt like he looked at his sons, namely, you never really felt like he looked at Michael as like family to him. You know, I mean, they were, but he didn't really, you never really felt like he truly had like that fatherly love for them. He saw Michael as money. He saw him as a blank check. He completely just works him to death. From the point he's a really young kid. Again, he didn't have a childhood because his father just saw his talent right out the gate. He's like, I'm gonna milk this for all it's worth. If he tried to talk back and defend himself, he got the belt. He had to walk a very fine line with his father up until he was an adult. Because his father was gonna hold on to him for as long as he possibly could, and it never made it easier for Michael. Yeah, he was a complete piece of shit in this movie, and that is credit to Coleman Domingo's incredible performance here. The other thing that you have to really appreciate in this movie that many of us already understood, but this movie really conveyed it for everyone, was truly how famous Michael Jackson was. Because saying he was an icon and he was this incredible music artist is such a gross understatement. I mean, whenever he performed in a city, whenever he toured, the entire city would be shut down. You could see it in this movie. Like, if he ever came to your city, you had to like cancel all your plans if you weren't going to his show because you weren't going to be able to go anywhere. People are flooding the streets. People are doing everything they can to get into his shows that are selling out instantly. And keep in mind, this was before the internet was a thing. This was before iPhones and shit were a thing. Imagine if he was around in this day and age, it'd be insanity. And again, credit to Jafar Jackson's performance in this movie. You can quickly see when he's on stage and he's singing certain songs and he's doing his iconic dance moves. You could really see just why Michael Jackson was as beloved by everyone as he was. I mean, in this day and age, you think of the big music stars in this world. You think of, you know, Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Eminem and all the others that are out there. They have big followings as well, and they are a very big deal to their fan bases for sure. But none of them can hold a candle to the kind of impact that Michael Jackson had over his fans. And admittedly, I listen to some of the modern day artists that, you know, have the following they have now, and I hear them and I'm just like, I mean, yeah, there's talent here, sure, but how do they have that huge of a following? It just doesn't make sense. No, with Michael Jackson, it made perfect sense. I mean, the way he sang, the way he could dance, like, it's really incredible to see. Like, I never got to see Michael Jackson in concert or anything like that, but seeing it in this movie, the movie does a great job making you feel like you are there. I mean, when he hits those incredible notes, when he does his signature moonwalk, I mean, I saw this in theaters and it felt like a euphoric experience. That's incredible right there. And just seeing fans in the audience just crying hysterically, you know, feeling like they're in church, passing out, having to be carried out by security. It's wild. That's what I love seeing. When he's developing these songs and just the way he came alive on stage, it was awesome to see. I mean, I really felt like, you know, I already mentioned that you really feel like you're there, but I gotta tell you, when certain songs came on, because we all have our favorite Michael Jackson songs. Admittedly, when my favorite ones were going, I was really into it. I was vibing to it. It was fun, man. As far as some flaws I might have with this movie, I do wish a few more members of his family got a little bit more time to shine. I mean, this is pretty much the Michael Jackson and Joe Jackson show. His other brothers don't really get as much time to shine. I believe Jafar Jackson's father is Jermaine Jackson. I really feel like he did that much in this movie. I guess you would think, you know, his, you know, son playing the lead character, maybe he would have more of a role, or at least, you know, the actor playing Jermaine Jackson would have more of a role, but he didn't. And even Janet Jackson, nowhere to be seen in this movie, which is kind of surprising because she's kind of the other member of the family that actually made a pretty big name for herself. I don't know, I guess I just would have enjoyed seeing more of how his relationship with them went as he got older, especially when you see the way his relationship with his father went. But I do get it. They want to drive this home and make this a very serious, like, musical kind of drama. You really need to put Joe Jackson in the forefront because of what he did to Michael. I mean, there's a scene in this movie, I have to go back and talk about it right now, but there's a scene where it touches on, you know, the situation with, you know, Michael Jackson and his hair and fire. You know what I'm talking about. Some people may not understand this, but he very nearly came close to dying that day. And he was in the hospital, and the doctors explained the situation to the family. First words out of his father's mouths are, okay, so when can he start performing again? It's like, do you not care about what happened to your son? It's like, you just see him as money. Truly was wild. This guy was just, he was out of his mind. And we see a little bit about how, you know, Michael Jackson's mother felt towards, you know, his father, but I would have liked to see, I guess, a little bit more about how, you know, the brothers also felt towards him. Doesn't really touch on that as much, maybe because he wasn't as hard on them, but we could have explored more on that whole family dynamic. It could have added a more emotional element to this movie. And also, as you all know, this movie is really getting slammed by critics on Rotten Tomatoes. It is not a movie that they're looking very fondly on, and the reasoning behind it, I believe, is because this movie very much steers clear of the controversial side of Michael Jackson. You know, the allegations, the lawsuits, everything that eventually would happen with Michael Jackson later on in life. This movie does not touch on that whatsoever. Now, I have heard that if this movie makes a lot of money, that they will make a sequel or a follow-up to this movie. That has not been confirmed yet. I mean, this movie's killing at the box office right now, so I imagine that will happen, and then maybe we will explore more on that. But the rumors I had heard is they actually were exploring on that for a while, and the family didn't want that, so instead, what happens is, the way this movie wraps up, it does end very abruptly. And I don't even mean end abruptly, like, you know, oh, we have an ending and they just wrap it up really fast. the movie just kind of ends, and it didn't even really feel like an ending. And that was kind of a bummer for me because, again, the movie doesn't necessarily have a sequel officially greenlit. So because of that, I'm just not entirely sure if we're getting a follow-up. So it kind of feels like if this is all we get, it's gonna feel a little bit empty in that sense. I would have liked more of a conclusion to at least the story that this movie was trying to give us. But all in all, yeah, Michael, I really dug this one. Jafar Jackson absolutely nails it in the lead role of this movie. The fact that this is his first ever movie role is unbelievable. I don't know if he'll ever do any more work for himself. He might just think, all right, I played my uncle, I played the most famous person ever, I'm good now, I don't need to do that again. I would understand that, but I hope he gives it a little bit more of a chance. He's undeniably very good at it. Maybe it's just because he was playing Michael Jackson, but I'd like to see him try other roles. Coleman Domingo was spectacular as Joseph Jackson. I mean, you pretty much hate this scumbag from the moment you see him in the movie. That's credit to his performance. The moments where Michael's performing as a kid, as an adult, his signature moves, his signature songs, undeniably, it's gonna suck you right in. You will feel like you are at a Michael Jackson concert and you're gonna be vibing along to all the moments you know and love. Seeing his vision, seeing the way he developed songs, developed music videos, created his albums, it's really impressive stuff. Could have focused a little bit more on the brothers. It also could have, you know, wrapped up a little bit better than it did and maybe even explore a little bit more on the touchier subjects. But at the end of the day, this is a movie that was made for Michael Jackson fans. I can say this right now. I saw this movie with my mom, who loves Michael Jackson. She absolutely adored this movie. So understand who you are going into this. If you really love Michael Jackson, his music means the world to you, his story means a lot to you, you'll walk out absolutely loving this movie. If you're more like me and you're not as big a Michael Jackson fan, and you're only familiar with a few of his songs, however, the songs you know, you love, you are definitely still gonna find enjoyment in this movie. There is no doubt about that. And in the end, I think the critics got this one very wrong. I had a really good time with this movie. I'm gonna give Michael a 7 out of 10, which makes it one you absolutely gotta check out in theaters.
Hey, come on, hurry up, Brian. I don't want to miss the movie trivia slides before the movie.
I really hope this movie keeps making the money that it's making. I would really, really love to see a part 2 to this movie. Really give us a proper conclusion to a Michael Jackson biopic. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.